Welcome back to another video. This is Win or Bin, where I will review games and decide if they are worthy of a win status or destined for the proverbial bin. We've got Stronghold 4 today, which is the demo version, by the way. So I've been playing that with high expectation, it must be said, based on perhaps my love of the previous games and also a video I did a couple of years ago where I got quite moist over the whole thing, it would seem. So most of you would perhaps be familiar with the Stronghold franchise. It's been around for many years now, and it's a classic for many reasons. It's a great castle building game with an economy manager in there, so you build buildings, you need to produce food, that sort of thing, and keep people happy, as well as build soldiers, equip those soldiers by making the weaponry they need. So the demo comes with an economic campaign, a taste of the economic campaign, and a taste of the military campaign that it will offer in the full game. The full game will offer a bunch of other things as well, I understand. So this is a brand new iteration of Stronghold. The previous one that I reviewed a couple of years ago that I mentioned is actually just a remaster, so it's great to have some fresh ideas going into this one, albeit, as we'll see through here, lots of the same original features are still in the game, including the buildings and characters, which is wonderful. So I'm just going to start with some good things here. So it does look really nice. It's stepped up a hell of a lot from the last versions, which you'd expect, of course. You zoom in as far as you can, and things do look really nice, and the animations are great, and watching people do their day-to-day stuff in terms of jobs. So your bakers, you can see baking. Your smithies, you'll see smithing, smithering.
What the hell?
And you'll see everyone doing what they should be doing, which is really nice, and it's done well. Stronghold has always had an element of British humour in it as well, which I've always loved, and you've still got that same advisor that talks to you. And if you click on a character, or sorry, a civilian or someone working in your city, they will say something sometimes, and it's all just funny stuff. You know, there's some dark humour in there, and it's fun. It's dry. And from a positive note, more generally, I think I had good fun. You know, this was a decent playthrough that I went through, and I did have fun, and it did bring back those memories of enjoying the game previously. So by all means, it did a job, but there are some negatives, which I'm going to move on to just now. Unfortunately, it's still a bit buggy. Yes, I know it's a demo, but there are what I would maybe say is basic things that are bugging out. Units and people get stuck in walls. There was a moment, which I will show you here as I'm talking, where there was just a circle of rabbits the whole time, just stuck on the screen. A couple of them were on the wall as well. And there were also units walking through closed gates, which I will try and show you here as well from the military campaign. And there was no way to seemingly open and close the gates. Now, that might be because they're automatic whenever they're needed, but I'm pretty sure you used to be able to control the gates, unless I'm missing it. But I don't think you can here. But do correct me if I am wrong, of course. Another problem with this is that it's not obvious what all the buildings are just by sight. So, for example, if you do the military campaign, which I did, and you are given a semi-completed town, you don't necessarily know what the buildings you already have in place are. You have to click on the building, and then it will obviously tell you, but they're not easily distinguishable enough to know just from looking at them from the top-down view, which is a bit of a shame. And actually the same with units. They're not always obvious what they are unless you zoom all the way in. If you hover over them, you don't get any tooltips or anything. I know not all games give you tooltips by hovering over them. You have to click on them, which is fine, but there is a but to that point. If you happen to select multiple units that cover multiple unit types, they will appear as separate boxes in the screen. So you've got 9 archers, 10 macemen or something, for example. But it doesn't tell you what they are until you then click on them. So you can't hover over them, and it says, oh, these are archers, and they're just not easily distinguishable. I know that might sound a bit weird because it perhaps is obvious to some, but for me, it just didn't feel useful enough. And you do have to react quite quickly in this as well, because if you're getting attacked quite consistently, as you do in the military campaign, you need to be able to quickly identify what you've got, and it just feels too clunky yes, that's a great word for this actually, clunky and laborious to try and just ascertain what you're playing with here. And yeah, you've just got to be fast paced with it, and it just doesn't seem to be equipped to allow you to be fast in action. So for me, there is just too much that I didn't enjoy about this that made my overall experience probably on the more poor side. Yes, I did have some good times, as I said earlier in the video, and it did satisfy a particular nostalgic itch. But if you take a step back and look at this, it's not a totally great experience. I think too much lets it down. So I really hate to have to do this, but it's going to have to go into the bin status for the moment. Now, when the game comes out in full, obviously, I'll try and play it again. Things might have improved, and then it would perhaps be a different measure entirely. But for this alone, it's just not quite there. I couldn't enjoy it as much as I remember I did from previous games, which is a shame, but it is only just about a bin. But I have to make a decision with this. A win would make it, yeah, this has been brilliant. A bin, no, there's been elements of this, or too many elements of this that just don't sit right with me, and unfortunately it does sit in that category. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I do like talking to people when they comment, and I will always, or at least try to put something back. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.